Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on a video of mine. It means a lot. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. Today, we are going to finish out this final jurors ranking. Next up, we have winners ranking. I already have 3 of the 4 parts for the winners ranking filmed. So, filmed and ready to go, premiering back to back to back all daily. We're continuing daily content on this channel. And as long as you guys like it, I'll try to continue to do it for as long as I can before I get burnt out. So let's get right into this last part, taking it off with a great final juror in Kelly Wentworth. Kelly goes at the end of this list. But it's tough. It's tough with Kelly. It's tough. Um, I'm considering moving Kelly to top B. It's like a real like in between. Let me look at the people who we have coming up. So are we gonna have a lot of A tiers? I'm not looking at a lot of A tiers. Yeah, so from what I'm looking at, I think we'll be fine. I think overall we have a lot of really good um, players in this 31 to 40. Like, there's no terrible people, like, or sorry, terrible players. But I also do think that we have a lot of B's and C's coming up. So I'll go ahead and put Kelly in the A tier for now. Kelly played a game. I mean, really, Kelly's game is impressive. Obviously, she has a very impressive idol play, but even before that, in the pre-merge, she is in trouble for a lot of the pre-merge. She comes into the post-merge with without numbers, but what I will give her credit for is that her idol play didn't just buy her another tribal; it bought her 8 or 9 tribals, which a lot of people play an idol and it's a big play, whatever, and then they get voted out like the next episode or the episode after that. Kelly made sure that didn't happen. She made sure that when she played her idol and then she used her social game to get her all the way to the end of the game, 1 vote away. And if she was able to flip Cass and Spencer, which I do not think would have happened, then she would have been able to really take advantage of that situation. I'm gonna move some people down a little bit. So I'm gonna move Jenna down. I'm gonna move Kelly to top of B. The more I talk about her, it's just like it just doesn't sound like an A tier game to me. It does sound like a B tier game, but I feel like she couldn't beat Jeremy, and she did not have the social capital to take Jeremy out, and therefore it's really hard to put like respect on her game. David Wright. David Wright. No, that's not. No, we have Sydney. Sydney next. Sydney next. My big knock on Sydney is that she was never getting the votes to win the game ever. Sydney was never getting the votes if she got to the end, because that whole Scott and Jason and Julia jury contingency that voted for Michelle to win really gave like Michelle like the swing to win the jury vote. They were never voting for Sydney. They hated Sydney. Sydney played the game really hard strategically. She had a lot of power. It was really her and Aubrey. And I give just as much credit strategically to her as I do to Aubrey. And although both her and Aubrey have pretty flawed social games, I think Aubrey had a better social game, and I think that Aubrey beats her in final 3, and that Michelle beats her in final 3. And for that reason, I do have to really knock her. Moving on, we have David Wright. David is bottom of S. Bottom of S, top of A. It's. I'm going back and forth. It's tough. We'll stick David in. That's tough. That's really tough. I'm gonna put David in the bottom of S for now. My thing with David that I'm really impressed by him is he gets to the end, he beats anybody on that entire post merge. Really on the, I mean, maybe not the entire cast, but definitely the post merge, he beats just about anybody, and he got 1 vote away from winning. And he had gotten to that vote with Ken, someone who in theory would tie it up, but because Ken is so feckless, and he flipped on him, which I guess is a smart move for Ken. But because Ken betrayed him, he ends up not going to the finals and beating whoever else. But very similar with Rob, is he brought his ally to the final three or four in this case, and then his ally uh, either didn't save him or what wasn't able to save him. Rob Rob's ally in Matthew uh, threw the challenge because he didn't want to have to make the choice to save Rob or vote him out, and then David's ally Ken just voted him out of the game. So he was one solid ally flipping on him away from an easy win, just like how Rob was, away from an easy win. And for that reason, I do have to give credit where credit's due, and respecting David's game as very similar to like Rob's game, or a Rafe too, because Rafe brought Stephanie to final three, and if Stephanie or him had won, then he would have won the game really. So yeah, tie. This is tie in Game Changers, to be more specific. Tie in Game Changers. Um, I'll throw him right there. He did have a chance to win, just not against Brad or Sarah, and for that reason, I do have to knock his game, because obviously, as we see, the jury ties the vote, and then Troy obviously picks Brad to win over tie. And he would have lost to Sarah, because anyone would have lost to Sarah in that end game, aside from maybe Andrew. Not even Andrea. Probably just Zeke. But aside from that, I really think Zeke or Sari would have beaten Sarah. But besides that, really feel like Ty couldn't really beat many people except for a Troy Zan, um, maybe an Andrea, and then a Michaela and Haley, and maybe a Sierra. So that's like half of the post merge jury, and for that reason, I do have to knock his game. Although I will say him holding on to those two idols and then playing them to save his allies. But then I do have to knock him, because then after that his ally in Aubrey gets voted out directly after, and he does make some questionable social plays and maneuvers that kind of screw up his game in the middle of the merge. So for that reason, he ends up in the middle of B to high B tier. Devin Pinto. I think Devin's bottom of A. So a lot of people think Devin beats Chrissy and Ryan, and I think it's close between him and Chrissy, and just because of the fact that it was close, and again, just like how Sari had no idea that it was going to be a final two. I do have to give credit to Devin, where he had no idea that there was going to be forced fire making, or they would have tried to vote out Ben a lot earlier. And for that reason, I do have to give him credit. He had good, really good relationships with him and Ashley, and him and Ryan. He dominated his pre-merge tribe, and he survived his post swap tribe. And for that reason, I do have to give him credit. He was within like that six that controlled the start of the merge, and when the flipping started to happen, he was rarely ever blindsided by the vote, and he was able to salvage him and Ryan's relationship until it was what's it called? Until until he didn't need that relationship anymore in the game. And yeah, Angelina, Angelina, yeah, Angelina. I don't really have much respect for her game. She went to the end with her Navidi boys in Wendell and Dom, and similar to Donathan and Laurel, which at least Donathan and Laurel were closer to Dom and Wendell for most of the game than and Jelena was, and she went. I mean, she went to the end with Dom in Wendell. People who could, Dom, Wendell, and Donathan, all of which who are going to beat her in a final three. So I feel like she was setting herself up for an L, kind of from the start of the merge, when she was very close to being blindsided in the pre-merge by the four Malolos on the swap tribe, but they picked Morgan instead. And I feel like she overall didn't have much knowledge of the game, and in the end, she lost in fire. So again, it's just big knocks against her game for sure. I must have not put what's her name? Lirsa? Is it? No, it's not Lirsa. Wait, what is it? Oh yeah, it's Kiera. So Kiera was I just didn't put her image on here. I guess I just didn't download it. But yeah, Kiera, I would say overall, if I had to put her in a list, she would probably go in bottom B tier, top C tier. She went to the end with people who were going to beat her, and by the middle of the merge, her perception was definitely being the weakest Goliath, and I feel like she was kind of screwed from that point on. Now, I will say she did play hard, and she made moves when she had to, to make moves in blindsiding Davy. And it's just in the end, I feel like she never had a chance of winning against like most of the people in the post merge, and it's hard to respect a game like that. Rick Devens is gonna go. I'll put a I'll put him ahead of Ty. I mean, the thing with Rick is like, yes, he wins in the end, and yes, but like the game he played with zero, social capital. I mean, really, Ben is a middle B tier winner for me, and the exact same thing goes for Rick Devens. He's the middle of B tier. He plays a great outplay game, but he does not outwit at all, and he can't even outlast in the end. I really do feel like his social capital just it really was not there. Now I will say he did IO and win challenges, to get to the end. But that's a really tough game when you have no social dominance or capital or really say over who goes home. And so for that reason, it's really really tough. But yeah, Lauren Beck. Lauren Beck is going to go up in A tier. I would say probably ahead of Yaman for me. Lauren probably beats Tommy. I sincerely think that Lauren beats Tommy in the end. If it's her, Tommy, and let's say Nora maybe. So I feel like she beats Tommy because she has those relationships with both Aaron and Missy, and on top of that, she was also tight with Dean and and uh, Elizabeth and Janet, and I feel like overall they would rather see Lauren walk away with the money than Tommy, and for that reason, I do give her credit. I feel like her and Tommy played the same game, and it's just that Tommy had more control over the game socially, but I do feel like she beats Tommy, and for that reason, I have to put her in the A tier. I feel like if you could have beaten the person who wanted to go to the end with you, like Lex could with Ethan, I feel like you deserve to be in at least close to A tier, if not in A tier or S tier. Last but not least, Sarah. Sarah's gonna go at the bottom of A tier. Same thing with with some other people in this tier. If she beats Tony and Fire, it's a tough win. I do think because the jury does not want to give an edge person the win, they give um, her the votes over Natalie. But I would be concerned with Nat beating her because Boston Rob and Amber don't necessarily like her. Danny doesn't necessarily like her, and I feel like there would be an anti Sarah contingency forming, but I do think in the end she probably ends up beating the Natalie and Michelle final three if she wins in Fire, and she was very close to winning in Fire. She just dumped the stuff on top of Fire, at the wrong time, and so I do feel like she was very close. But I will say the reason why she's not closer to the front of the A tier is because of the fact that Tony had much more control over the game, and because Tony got the edge out on her by getting out her ally in Sophie, and for that reason, I do have to knock her game. All right, guys, this was the final jurors ranking series. I have most of the winner ranking parts filmed. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a 4-part series of ranking all the winners 1 through 10, 11 through 20, 21 through 30, and 31 through 40. I'm really, really psyched to be doing these series, and I'll keep them up. If you guys keep clicking, 81% of you guys who are watching these videos aren't subscribed. Let's change that. It's free and it's easy. And if that's it, thank you for watching my channel.